Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Alex and this is TechFlow. So, the Apple Watch, 1 year later. I've been using this thing for, well, ever since it came out. What do I think of it? So ever since this came out, I've had the first gen Apple Watch on my wrist. Let's go over the looks. So on the front of the watch, we've got our sapphire crystal display, and I can say after the year I've had this thing on my wrist, and as I say, I've had this thing on my wrist every single day, there's not a scratch on it. It's ridiculously tough. But the same thing, I can't say that about the edges. On the right hand side of the watch, we've got our digital crown and our single button. On the left hand side of the watch, it's fairly plain with a microphone and speaker port. On the top and bottom of the watch, we've got our universal Apple Watch band. Thank you, Apple, for including this. And on the back of the watch, we've got a plethora of sensors, including heart rate sensors and haptic engines. We'll go over this a bit later. Personally, I really like the look of the Apple Watch. Yes, it could be a circle design like other smartwatches out there. However, reading text on a circle watch just doesn't make sense, does it? When I'm scrolling down my text messages, I absolutely love the design of the Apple Watch in that I can fill up the whole screen with text and have it all on there. This makes it really useful for viewing things like photos as well. We'll go over the apps a little bit later. What I'm saying is I really like the design that Apple has gone with the Apple Watch. It's super lightweight and it just feels really nice to wear. I love the square screen for fitting on information and glancing at information. You can fit so much more on there than a circle display. And also the way that the glass curves around the edge of the watch itself just makes it that little bit more immersive. So, displaying the time. Apple has introduced a feature where you can physically swipe on the watch face itself to change the actual, it's going off, look, to change the actual watch face itself. Now I don't like this because sometimes I find my watch face just changing by itself if I've accidentally swiped the screen. Now Apple's watch face design is absolutely brilliant. You've got gimmicky things all the way from Mickey Mouse and you can tap his face to hear the time. And you've got faces like the modular face, which I use all the time. This displays things like, well, I have the date and the actual day of the week. 1:43 a.m. mine currently says. It tells me where I am in the world. It tells me the temperature where I am, the highs and lows of the temperature. And you can also have 3 customizable apps down the bottom. I have the breathing app, messages, and music control. Really useful stuff. Now, one thing I absolutely love on the Apple Watch is the security. So the watch is very good at telling whether it's on your wrist or not. So when I take my Apple Watch off my charger every morning and put it on my wrists, it prompts me to enter the code. Now the watch knows if I take this thing off of my wrist with its inbuilt sensors. Nothing to do with the strap, just with it knows it's pressed up against your wrist. If I don't take this thing off my wrist, it will not ask for the code for the rest of the day, and I've never seen it do that. But then as soon as you do take it off your wrist, it knows instantly and prompts for the code every time you use it. Brilliant from a security standpoint. Now clicking the digital crown brings you to your home button. Now with this being the Series 1 watch, we're jumping into my first complaint here. It's a little bit laggy. Navigating around the many apps I have on the home screen, I can just see a little bit of FPS lag. Now apparently they fixed this with the Series 2 with a higher end processor, but this isn't an old watch. The Series 1, it's been out, I think maybe 2 years now. It shouldn't be like this. Apps do take a long time to load, and this really shows in the settings app on the watch itself. The reason you buy an Apple Watch is to leave your phone alone. You want to do everything on your wrist, make it a lot easier. But say if I want to change my watch's settings, I have to click on the settings icon, open the watch up itself, and then it swirls around for about 5 seconds. You know what? I may as well just open my phone and change all the settings on my phone. It's so much easier, as you can see. But now the main reason you're going to get an Apple Watch is not to really make things easier, it's more to look at your notifications. This is what the Apple Watch is for, or any smartwatch for that matter. Now Apple's technology by delivering notifications is absolutely groundbreaking. You have an audible tone like a ding, you can change this in the settings, but most of the time I've got my watch on silent anyway, so I can't hear this. So how do I know when I've got a notification? Well, what Apple could have done is, like any other watch company, just stick a little vibrate motor in there and have it vibrate on your wrist. That's a little bit gimmicky in my opinion. Oh, it's so satisfying, honestly, it just went off then. Apple have what's called the taptic or haptic engine inside this watch. And it really does just feel, right? Take your 2 fingers and do this. It feels like someone's tapping you on the wrist. Now, because it does just feel so surreal and it's different from a vibrate, oh my god, it's going off now, isn't it? There we go. Now, because it does just feel like different than just a standard vibrate, you don't get phantom vibrations nearly as much as you would with a standard vibrate motor on a phone. You can very, very, very easily differentiate a tap-tic tap than just a normal vibrate. Now, you can have the watch vibrate and give you a tap-tic tap, but I don't like this. I don't like the vibrate at all. I just want the on my wrist. I absolutely love it. I've had this watch for 2 years and it doesn't get old. It just feels so strange. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Do I use the apps on my watch? No, I don't. I don't use the apps on this thing at all. I'll get my phone out every single time. The one thing I do love using the watch for, though, is Siri. So as soon as you hold the watch up, the watch face lights up, and then you can say, "Hey Siri, what's the weather like today?" And it'll listen to you and give you all the information, literally like that, on your wrist. Amazing. I also look at texts and my text messages on this little watch as well, and you can like reply and write things, and its dictation is fairly cool. You can also send love hearts. It also has cool things like smiley faces as well, which make it really intuitive to use. But again, getting to all of this and the lagginess of my Series 1 watch makes it kind of just a little bit awkward to use, which is why I kind of want to upgrade to the Series 2, but can't quite justify the money. Now, that's not me saying that it's not useful at all. I think this thing is absolutely awesome. That's why I wear it every single day of my life. But the reason I wear it is plainly for seeing notifications. I never really go into the home screen of the watch at all to do anything, to use the apps, to trigger my camera on my phone. Very rarely. I'm very rarely on the home screen. The only thing I'll ever go on the home screen for is to maybe look at my text messages if I'm in a bit of an awkward situation and don't want to get my phone out of my pocket, or I'm starting an activity, or I want to check out how many calories I've burned for the day. I don't use any of the other apps. I used to use Siri on it. Like, "Hey Siri, order me an Uber." Opens the Siri app. I don't touch it that much. So, should you get an Apple Watch? Well, yes. If you want your notifications on your wrist and you want to save some battery life on your phone, and you're a bit of a technology nerd, you know what? Go for it. Battery life lasts about 2 days in my personal testing, and I get a lot of notifications. It's not me pushing me in buttons here, I just do. So my screen is on all the time. I've got my tap-tic tap on the hardest tap it can do, so it's always give me a nice firm tap. Yeah, my battery lasts about 2 days. You can do awesome things like ping your phone. I always lose my phone, and just by the tap of that, you can ping your phone. They just are a really cool bit of tech, and I'm sure, like personal assistants like the Amazon Echo, they're just gonna get better in time. So why not get used to it now? Mine has been Alex, this has been TechFlow. I think this is a pretty cool piece of kit. I'll catch you in the next one.